Hello and welcome to the 2020 Idlewild Open here in Burlington, Kentucky. We've got round one front nine action. Stop 6 of 10 on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. Today's coverage is presented by the PDGA and Jomez Productions Patreon supporters. We got Big Barry commentary, Jeremy Koling, joined by Paul Ulibarri.
And as always, we got an awesome card for you guys on one of the best courses, in my opinion, in the country. Nikko Locastro letting his hair out.
Looking crazy, man. James Conrad, he is going to be a lot of people's favorite this week coming into the event. Former champion. He's gone 1-2 at this event in the last 3 years. He's had a first place and a second place finish. Paul McBeth missing the 2019 Idlewild, but winning it in 2018. Very contemplative here right before we start the round. And wild man Zach Melton. He's not quite as Bob Rossi as he normally is, but he's still looking good. He's obviously a great player. It's going to be fun to have a lefty here on the feature group.
Yeah, he's looking like he came in on a Harley.
There's a lot of players looking that way these days. Hole 1, par 4, 638 foot. Just a bomb downhill. Not too much downhill, maybe 10 total feet of elevation. But this is a tee with the right wind. You can see a drive get down here somewhat near Circle 2's edge. There's OB on the left side all the way down. Definitely can come into play if you're not going for that big turnover tee shot.
Number one thing on this hole is definitely you want to keep your drive turned over because there is that OB on the left and it sneaks up on you super quick.
Yeah, the further down the fairway you get, it just seems to get in play. And Nikko, I don't know if this one has enough turn on it.
He's asking it. Yeah. That's not going to do it.
And that's going to end Nikko's chances of this tournament right from the get-go.
Oh, man. He's going to be able to get up and down from there. That's pretty. That's pretty doable.
Yeah, he's going to have an open approach, but certainly this is one of the easier holes in the course, and certainly one that you're looking at getting yourself just a long jump putt if you've got James Conrad distance, if not just the easy 3.
One thing I noticed stepping up to this tee is the wind kept switching from right to left, left to right. It was tough to get a good read on it, and this is definitely turned up over a little bit too much.
That's the miss, though. If you miss, you want to miss right. And maybe overturned, of course, but
after seeing somebody as good off the tee as Nikko, OB left, that's definitely the mistake to make.
And McBeth
says, I don't care about Nikko's mistake. I'm going to go way left.
So much trust on the left side of the fairway, getting that late turn down. That is a great shot. Good position to get the birdie.
Rounding out the 140 pairing out of Gray, Tennessee, representing Dynamic Disc, Whale Sacks, Tripod Disc Golf, and Crowmore Disc Golf Store, Zach Melton.
Zach Melton doesn't have the distance, I don't think, to get the 2 on this one.
Not to get the 2.
But he does have very controlled distance, and he is, I believe, more known for his woods capability. I think he sets up really well for this course.
Yeah, Tennessee native, Zach Melton, very crafty in the woods, a lot of control. He's got a good forehand as well, so he's going to be able to get this to go left and right. Super crucial once you get in the woods and things starting to tighten up. See if Conrad's got a line a bit tricky off there to the right, and this one's going to come up well short. That's going to be a scary putt to that elevated green. It's a slope behind the basket as well. This needs to get low, and it does.
Yeah, great speed control there by Zach Melton.
And, of course, I was joking with Nikko's event being over as he lays that one under the basket. That'll be just a par on the first hole. Not too much damage there. And there's the advantage of that big tee shot with Paul. Just throwing a pitch-up zone to the pin, and that'll be 10 feet left for the birdie.
Let's see how aggressive James wants to be on this first hole.
Oh, very aggressive and a great lunging bid there from 48 feet. Unable to connect. A great effort, though. We've seen James just light up the putting green at this event in the past. Something about the woods just can make a player like James, a Virginia native, feel really comfortable about his putting lines. The trees have a great way of setting up nice little visual markers for a player. Zach and Paul with the birdies. James and Nikko with the par. And we're moving on to hole 2. Second hardest hole in the course right out the gates. This is a tough one. Par 4, 601 feet. This hole's moved back from years prior. You want to avoid this one tree right there in the middle and get onto this hillside somewhere. From there, you want to throw your approach over these bushes, over this little stretch of water, onto this hillside, and try to get the disc to maneuver underneath this low ceiling, bringing it into this with very little angle so you don't skip and roll into the water on the left. The green is so tricky. It's very treacherous. You can get in trouble almost anywhere on this hole.
Yeah, it almost takes a specific second shot to land something soft and really close. We're going to see a lot of shots, I think, within 30 to 40 feet for whatever they manufacture from their second shot or third shot if they do decide to maybe scramble a little bit.
And McBeth with a great forehand drive. That's way wide, and he's not going to have the bushes coming in play on his second shot, which is a big advantage. He's going to be able to go a little bit straighter at it, but it also brings that slope towards the water a little bit more of a tricky approach to land it safe. A similarly executed shot from Melton. Nikko going with a turnover backhand.
Kind of surprising. I mean, especially with how much he's been throwing the sidearm on past coverage. But, I mean, if you can do it like that, I would suggest doing it.
Yeah, that result is pretty much where we draw it up there. But you're right, Nikko's really been working so much on that forehand.
He just throws a sidearm now into the green.
Yeah, and actually, if you have a good turnover forehand, it really sets up well to land soft. But it's a tricky shot for most people to execute at that distance. And James with a really nice turnover as well. This disc golf course is really close to the Cincinnati airport. You're going to probably hear planes go overhead throughout the round. Zach with a nice straight line. This is looking beautiful. Oh my goodness.
And that left side is actually way tighter than you could even see on the camera. That is only a 10 to 15 foot gap that he hit right there. And I'm not sure if that was the one that he was trying to hit, in fact.
Interesting. Well, from 300 feet, still impressive to control every other part correctly, as he got the height right and obviously the angle right. And the result is going to be great. And Nikko, also a wonderful approach, using that low ceiling skip to avoid that those low-hanging limbs on the right side.
Yeah, and that's surprising as well, to throw something a little bit faster into that slope, expecting it to kind of pan out. You got to throw it perfect, and that's exactly what he did.
Paul going with a higher line. This is going to need to get down. Oh, yeah, that's getting down. That's 3 approaches in the circle on this treacherous hole 2. And we haven't even got to the best drive yet. Conrad just put the putter left.
Hopefully this angle will give us a little bit better of a perspective of the gaps that, it's kind of tough to see.
It's tough to see no matter where you are in the fairway, too.
Bushes right there.
And James, another slightly errant approach with the putter. That's gonna leave a lot left here. It's a scary, and outside circle 2, that's just going to be a layup from that distance, and catching the stump in the way. Still 15 feet left of the par for James. And that's a good solid putt for McBeth. His first true putt of the event. It's nice to get that one out of the way with a good 27-foot uphill putt. And James still away. And that's a scary putt. After you kind of messed up the approach a bit, and then you have an easy layup, and then you give yourself still 18 to, well, that's more closer to 22 feet.
Yeah.
Downhill.
He literally threw it 20 feet into a stump and then had to throw it 20 feet into a basket. So
that's not what you want.
Not what he drew up, but you know what? He made good.
And Nikko, he spins that one in for the birdie.
This is an incredible upshot from Zach, going down that narrow tunnel on the left. Got it in there.
A bit squirrely off there to the right side, but that's in there. McBeth and Zach off to a good start at 2 under apiece. Moving on to hole 3, a really fun downhill yet low ceiling tee, 407 feet through over this hill here, and then it starts to slope down, and there's just this little tiny squirrely creek that's out of bounds down here. And the player really has to commit to their tee shot to make sure they get across that, because it's right in that landing zone that most players will seem to land right in that area. McBeth turning this over nicely. And that's going to be well past the, and with that upslope behind the pin, that really gives the player an opportunity to make that ace run.
Zach pulls this a little bit. Hopefully that stays in bound. There is an out of bounds line that kind of covers that left side of the rough. Looks like he might be safe. And the good thing about being high up on that hillside is you do have, because you're so high up, you do have extra angles to be able to go into the green to save your par. You just have to deal with those couple guardian trees at the green, so I think you'll be fine from there.
Nikko just going the super straight, slightly turned over approach.
Gotta go.
And this is where so many of those drives, you see the Paul understanding the mistake, drive through the green. Make sure you get across that ditch. Worst case scenario, you've got a long birdie putt. You take away that birdie putt once you land in that creek.
Yeah, years past, you could really have a nice touch, make sure you hit the gap, and that was the main purpose. Now it's not only do you want to hit that gap, you want to hit it with a little bit of speed to get over that out of bounds. Even though it's 4 to 5 feet across, that's it. Where the out of bounds lies,
yeah, it really
it filters.
And I mean, the hill comes right to that creek on both sides. It definitely, you see so many shots land there.
Split them.
James has, but that could be dangerous also. Oh no, so he's actually gotten across the creek on the right side, so he's going to have a birdie putt from about 40. We'll see what Zach's left with. Okay, he's got to get over that hill. And there's that forehand we talked about. We saw it on hole 1. And we see it again here on hole 3. That's a great approach, just barely getting over the hill.
Yeah, I noticed today that a lot of people were hitting those.
Green grass. Am I safe or not? It's pretty much on the line out, yeah.
Anyways.
Back to what we were saying.
Yes. I noticed a lot of people who were hitting those guardian trees, they had pretty fairly easy upshots. Nikko obviously throws it out of bounds.
He's got this putt from 47 feet for the par.
It's a tough lie.
Definitely for a player who likes to run in the putt. You're running straight into a creek. It's not the preferable lie for Nikko.
No. You don't want to run into a creek in a bush.
Not at the same time, of course. And James getting his round underway with his first birdie.
I feel like I've seen this putt before on this hole.
I'm pretty sure we've seen that highlight a dozen times already. You're totally right there. That's right in James' wheelhouse. Paul is in as well, and he's continuing his perfect start, 3 under to start off this event. And Melton with a respectable par there. A bad kick off one of those trees going left, and that could have been a lot of trouble, and he's going to be happy to walk away with the par. And Nikko taps in the bogey. Moving on to hole 4, par 3, 432 feet, and this hole is filled with decisions. Obviously, the biggest play would be the straight, slightly turned driver kind of onto the right side hillside. But with that water OB left, you see so many players either pitch a forehand, a mid-range just to play it safe, or that big high flex shot to keep the disc out wide and have it crash into the green. But there's so many ways to achieve this distance, but it's always scary.
Yeah, this is going to be one of those holes where a lot of people do that exactly right there. They play a disc that if they throw it perfect, they're going to probably park the hole. But if they throw it a little bit bad, it's just going to dig into that hillside. They'll have about 80 to 100 feet into the green, and they'll just get off the hole with a par.
This is a hole. I like the way James throws this hole, going high turn with the Wraith, super high, so he doesn't have to really worry about the hillside. That one just turned over probably a tad more than he'd like, and now he's left with that really scary downhill putt.
Yeah, without the hillside, that was probably going like 550.
Yeah.
That was a big shot.
Zach this is a great hole for a lefty if you've got the distance, but Zach playing this one pretty safe. Probably just outside circle 2.
I feel like this is a hole Nikko could definitely get aggressive on.
Sure.
It really plays well to his
Oh my gosh,
favorable shot shape.
Looks so good. That is so good.
He loves those flex shots.
Yeah,
and this is just like a normal hole for him. I feel like that was beautiful.
You step up to a hole like that, Nikko's just licking his chops. That is just so his wheelhouse. Melton with just a simple layup. That'll be a par.
James will not be laying this up.
No, I don't think so. He's too aggressive to lay putts up like this, and he's too good from this range. Oh my goodness. Again, he strikes gold. James from 50 feet, total death putt on an elevated basket, sloping to water behind.
I think he thought, like, if I throw it this hard, I could be safe on the other side. I'll have the same putt coming back.
We had 132 players playing this event, 6 total people in the entire field birdie it, and we're going to have 2 of them on this card. Wow.
Hey, thanks for being a patron.
Thank you so much to our Patreon supporters. You guys are the real MVPs. So much of what we can do is supported by your generous donations. Go to JomezPro.com or Patreon.com/JomezPro and join in the cause. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
On to hole 5, par 4, 555 feet. You got to love holes that have 3 of the same number on the hole that it is.
Every time.
Every single time. Okay, let's talk about the hole.
It's 555 feet.
Yeah. 2 main plays you're going to see is a forehand and a roller.
And a backhand turnover.
And we're going to see James Conrad going with a super secret option C with a backhand turnover.
This is going to need help. This has bad angle.
Yeah. Backhand is so treacherous on this one. It's almost impossible to figure out the angle on this one with a backhand to get it to land flat to not roll.
Well, it's scary. Like, you just maybe if you turn it up, you could hear James say, "Trust the disc."
Yeah.
And that means that he did make the error on the throw.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the most important things about this hole is its angle control if you are throwing that turnover. He misses the angle, he goes out of bounds, and I think he's going to be fine with that mentally.
Nikko's going to be well short. With that roller, you really want to penetrate the wood line with some speed, but also moving right. If your roller or sidearm goes too straight, or even the backhand goes too straight, you're going to land in that creek almost every time. Let's see if McBeth can make the correction. He's going big air roller, and this is going to be moving with that forward momentum.
It's going a little bit too far right. This will be tricky from there.
Behind that bunker there is going to be a very tough approach.
And the roller's tough as well because this whole entire hole, unless you're throwing lefty hyzer or sidearm, it's all about the angle. And of course, hyzer angle if you're doing those other two options. But it's so finicky with the backhand angle and the roller angle. If you miss by even just a little bit, you're going to be way far right or in the creek.
Melton keeping this wide. I think he'd like this to be a bit tighter. Really depends on the stability of this one.
I think that's perfect.
Okay, so he's coming up just short of that big tree. That could play tricks with his approach. The best drives are just past that big tree that Zach just landed behind. And this is total decision time as Nikko getting aggressive from there.
That's it. That's all you got.
That's going to be tough from there.
Yeah.
Luckily, he did probably make it about 100 feet in front of his lie. So now he's going to be left with 150 to 200 into the green, and that's going to be doable, but very, very tough. That's not doable.
Oh, no. And that's out of bounds again. Oh, and that is the ultimate danger of hole 5 at Idlewild. If you go in that creek out of bounds, you don't have a good way to finish the hole. If you throw the drive that you'd like to, like Zach over here, further right, you can see that there's some holes there. And as Zach misses that shot, he's from a good spot. You push yourself another 20, 30 feet left from there, your angles are gone, your choices are limited, and as you can see, James is in trouble of taking a huge number on this one.
He doesn't even have a good second shot from there. I mean, he might be close enough to be able to jump putt or something, but it's still not going to be his favorite angle going into the green.
And McBeth navigating that bunker so well. What an impressive approach up to the green. He is safe 20 feet away from the birdie.
And Zach showing you that it's almost better to be off by a lot than a little. He catches the left side of that tree, he goes straight out of bounds where James was. But the fact that he missed by a bunch, he squares it up, and he actually has a jump putt for birdie.
Yep. And Nikko was able to navigate his approach far enough that just a jump putt to the green, he'll be leaving this hole with a par.
I think this is a replay as well. I think we've seen Zach in the same position. Let's see if he can.
Oh, coming in with some steam. Stays safe on the island. That'll also be a par for Zach. McBeth, 4 down. Just nearly a perfect start. Hole 4 is such a difficult birdie.
Yeah.
Taking a par, you're always happy with par on that one.
Are they like creaking the island?
There's that little bridge to get onto this island, and I thought I was going to break it. It was making the same noise as when I was walking over it. But it's sturdy. We trust it.
Sounds sturdy.
And James is going to walk away after getting his round started with 2 huge putts, just right back to even par with the unfortunate double bogey. He's going to need to pick things up from here on out. On to hole 6, par 3, 437 feet as you go uphill and through this gap, and you have to turn. A backhand turnover and a roller are going to be the 2 most predominant plays. I'm not quite sure what Melton will do. I guess he has the backhand flip up, but it is so tricky with that angle on the left side tree to hang it out there as wide as you like. I think the best thing to remember on this one, if you're throwing the backhand earshot, is the early turn gets the bird.
Yeah, with somebody like Zach Melton, the angle is important, but you got to understand, because of the way the hill is shaped, it plays as a 500-foot hyzer for a left-handed player. For a righty, you can turn it over and gravity pulls it straight towards the basket. So you're only throwing probably 410, 420 of a backhand compared to all 500 of the hyzer.
Sure. Paul overturning, actually. Nikko, if this has enough turn, I don't think it does. It's going to hyzer out. right in between those two.
That's
the drive
common
you're
right
looking
there,
for.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the mistake you're going to see the most. And so Zach, is he going to go flick roller or just turn over? Okay.
Like I said, if you
Yeah.
catch the angle right, you can get this to carry all the way down there.
Wow.
See? So it doesn't play as far as you actually think. It's all about angle control.
That was a great effort from Melton, showing off that forehand distance at 437. James going force over roll, and this is also the problem you see.
I love this.
Unless it starts turning over. Oh, it is.
That was great.
Oh, yeah, and just runs out of momentum and right in James Conrad territory at 45 feet. I thought for a minute that was just going to hold on straight, but it definitely got that break over that he was looking for right at the end of the flight. Or I guess I should say the end of the roll. This is a green light opportunity from Nikko. Once again. Oh, yes.
Wow.
Just an opportunity to give it a full, unadulterated run at it because you have that hillside right behind the pin, and Nikko spins this one in from 80 feet. That is a huge bonus birdie.
That's a new putt. You usually see him try to flex those step putts, and that one came out all hyzer. That takes just a complete different stroke, angle control, all those things. Very impressive. What a putt from Nikko.
Yeah, that was awesome. Conrad to get one back. I don't think I've ever seen him miss a jump putt before, Paul.
Yeah, that was a bit surprising, but I mean, that thing went in with the fire.
Yeah, he wasn't going to leave it short. That is for sure. And Melton doesn't leave it short as he's picking up just an awesome lefty forehand birdie. And look at that form. Doing that little tiny bird dance as it comes out. Fly, little birdie.
What a awesome display of sidearm, angle control, power, and great putting. What a birdie.
And Melton off to a pretty solid start himself at 3 under through 6 holes. Usually a pretty good score in this course is somewhere around the 9 to 10 under range. And if you can birdie half the holes as Melton has done, 3 under through 6, you know you're off to a pretty decent round.
Yeah.
Hole 7, par 4, 484 feet, but it plays so much longer. As once you get through this tiny gap here, missing all these trees with a good tee shot and getting onto this little hillside right about there, that's where most of the drives are going to land that hit that gap. Then you have to go uphill through the tight, narrow corridor up to this fairway that is just leaning left to right the whole way. So many things come into play. So much danger you can get into on hole 7.
Nikko looks to be going with the tough backhand shot, which is super difficult to throw on this hole.
And commits to it nicely, but catching late trees, dropping him down to the drop zone area where all OB shots would have to go if one of these guys does not make the gap.
Yeah, kind of a fortunate kick, honestly.
Yeah, put him in the spot where he probably has practice from the drop zone.
That's a good shot from Zach.
Really, distance is not important. Just hitting that gap is completely 100% of the intention for all these players.
Oh,
wow.
Some of that 5 time.
What a lovely redirection as Paul just barely kisses the entry tree gap. Puts him right back online, right down the middle.
Surprising to see 3 out of the 4 actually going backhand turnover on this hole because the gap actually shrinks because of that first tree on the right there.
Oh, no. And
it actually shrinks the gap from just playing sidearm into the hillside because of the speed.
Yeah, surprised Paul and Nikko didn't flex the forehand muscles that they have there, but not at all surprised to see James go with his backhand, but
Sit. You just hit random stumps, kick them sideways.
James from this treacherous drop zone. Such a difficult par to save from all the way back there, and this is off left, and that's not very good from there.
It's going to be a tough backhand from there, and we might be seeing
The
scramble
rare,
sidearm.
the unicorn Conrad forehand.
Mm-hmm.
Melton, look at that forehand, just inches off the ground, navigating the fairway exquisitely. He's going to have a short birdie putt. Now McBeth going with the forehand. He's going with a zone. This is a long carry for a zone. But I guess it's not. All right. Well, that made that look easy.
It needs to go. Okay. He'll be challenged with a little 25-footer, though, to earn his par. There he is. No.
That's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
That's
It
good.
works.
Yeah. I didn't realize he was that close.
Yeah, he was pretty close. If the basket were 40 feet further, he'd be
Yeah.
in trouble.
But he probably would have aimed higher.
Yeah, he would have made that happen, though. His forehand's better than he gives himself credit for.
Yes.
And Zach picks up the birdie. When I alluded to the airplanes flying overhead, I did not realize it was going to be on every single hole. It is certainly something that it's so loud when you're playing that you really have to take time. If you have an important putt and it's maybe a little bit of pressure, take a little bit extra time. Let the airplane fly overhead and reset and throw your shot.
A lot of people wanted to come watch, and they found out they couldn't, so they left quickly.
Okay. All right. Well, moving on to hole 8. This is a short par 5 at 576 feet. The play for a forehand player is going to be that nice forehand turnover, which really matches the fairway nice. All the other players are probably going to go with a mid-range or a fairway driver that can flip up and stay in the middle. From there, you're going to go uphill through this gap here and try to just break around this last tree on the right that the drone is passing now. Nestle down here on the slopey green. Give yourself a putt for the eagle.
Love it.
That was so good looking, and then caught the widest tree that was in the way. I think he was looking at total eagle territory with the way that thing was turning.
He still has a chance to get way up there from being in the middle of the fairway. Like you said in the beginning, it's not a very far par 5.
Mm-hmm.
So even getting 100 to 200 feet off the tee, you're looking at a makeable shot. I mean, it gets narrow, but the distance really isn't the issue with this hole.
The biggest danger is doing something like that, cut rolling off to the right side early. That's going to put Paul in a bit of trouble. A lot of times you'll see early kicks that kick way right, and you're almost on hole 7's fairway. And Nikko just keeping that in the middle. And even though he didn't put a ton of power on that, that got a good forward skip, and that's going to be in great position. Wow. I had never even... I hadn't thought of. Have you ever thought of that?
I didn't think about it.
Backhand cut roller. Now Conrad's
an innovator.
going with his second forehand in 2 holes. Paul finding the biggest gap, hitting it, advancing up 230 feet or so.
Finding every single little twig in the entire forest.
Just all. And that is such good angle control. Melton's going to be in that gap. Should be a long jump putt approach from there.
Nikko does have the distance to get this one all the way to the green. He also has the distance to get it about right there.
You have to go for that shot, though.
Oh, yeah.
It's a full throw to get the distance. You've got to put full power on it. That's the miss.
Absolutely. I mean, even though he hit a tree, he's still going to be right there in birdie land.
And James is struggling a bit on hole 8 so far. That is such a sawed-off angle to try to get a backhand through there. I don't know what he was looking at, but it wasn't much. That is an excellent shot from there. Leaves about 35 feet left for the long birdie putt. Nikko going with his Cenas. And skipping that one up to about 23 feet.
He must have not had that much from right there either.
Yeah, that was left a little to be desired. Melton's just out of jump out range. Has to go with a little short throw. Makes good work of it there, though. Paul from 38 feet. And that's high.
Yeah, a little bit downhill.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little. It's not a death putt, but it can leak past it pretty quick to where you have a kind of a tough 25-footer back up the hill. So
and, yeah, that foliage behind the basket, it is thick, and that's a good par putt from James. He needs that putt to land right now. Things not going so well as the start off, as he starts 1 over through the first 8.
pretty good par though.
Yeah, I mean, he was just all over the place early on. I really am interested to see that backhand cut roller line work.
What are you doing, bud? What are you doing? Seriously, like, you're fucking brain dead.
Melton with the only birdie on the card. Super surprising to see, as this is the second easiest hole on the course. 0.3 strokes below par on average.
Yeah, it looked like Nikko kind of caught himself in between the putts. Like he's been doing the spin putt and then his other, traditional putt, and it looks like sometimes you get caught kind of in between there.
Sure. The 6 eagles on the hole for the day. Not a ton of eagles, but it's got the opportunity. I'm sure we'll see another eagle at some point throughout this 3-round event. Moving on to hole 9, our final hole here on the front. Par 3, 258 feet. This is a hole that was made famous by that wonderful backhand turnover putter shot thrown by James Conrad. His marvelous ace, I believe in last year's event. Zach Melton on the box.
This is a little high, but that a good kick.
Yeah, well, that was pretty sweet. Did this hit something?
Oh yeah.
I'm going with a putter.
He's gonna hit this little one right there.
Oh, okay. There's a little tiny redirect.
Yep.
He was almost home free without that, but that definitely didn't hurt.
He would have definitely had a great shot. Hit the initial gap. He would have just probably leaked to about 20, 25 feet to the right.
I'm somewhat surprised to not see Paul throw his zone. He goes backhand, turnover, and there's another good break. Paul's holding his back there. Do you see that? I wonder if is he experiencing some back issues today?
I don't think so. I think he might have had a little itch or something.
No, definitely alert the presses. Paul McBeth has an injury. It's a really bad back injury. I'm kidding. Nikko with the backhand turnover. This is looking really nice.
He's going to be left with a little tester. We haven't seen him have the confidence today to pop that one in with, much confidence. Hopefully he can do that.
A nice putt on hole 2, and then the throw in later on in 6. But since then, he's missed a couple short ones on the green.
Yeah, circle 1. I think this would do wonders for him going into the back 9. Wow, he almost knocks it down again.
James throwing the same disc, I believe. That one had so much cut angle on it that it just wrapped right up next to the pin, and we have an opportunity for a star frame as all 4 players are on the green. Nikko taking his time, making the adjustment, and a much cleaner stroke. He held that follow through, did not pull his arm down, and that's the difference in the result as he makes that putt.
Smacks it right on the pole. Great momentum going in the back 9.
And as Paul lines up this short birdie putt, we are inching closer to our first star frame of the round. And there it is. These star frame birdies benefit the Educational Disc Golf Experience organization that has introduced disc golf to over 2 million kids. An awesome program. Very cool thing for Jomez to be a part of.
Absolutely. They've been around even before the start of my career.
That's right. And here is the leaderboard check-in. Ricky Wysocki at 7 down through the front 9. Really, this is the 9 to score low on. And Ricky and Eagle McMahon, Paul McBeth, myself, Zach Melton, Chris Orrick. I mean, a sea of great players in this front 9, navigating the front 9 very well. Paul, what do you think about the front 9 so far?
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I think there's going to be a lot more people teeing off here soon, and that leaderboard's going to change throughout the day. But I mean, no surprise to see Ricky on top.
Thank you so much to the JomezPro Founders Club. Stay tuned. We've got back 9 first round action coming right up.